A Nose for the King by Jack London. In the morning calm of Korea, when its peace and tranquility truly merited its ancient name, Chosen, there lived a politician by name Yi Chin-ho. He was a man of parts, and who shall say, perhaps in no wise worse than politicians the world over. But unlike his brethren in other lands, Yi Chin-ho was in jail. Not that he had inadvertently diverted to himself public moneys, but that he had inadvertently diverted too much. Excess is to be deplored in all things, even in grafting, and Yi Chin-ho's excess had brought him to most deplorable straits. 10,000 strings of cash he owed the government, and he lay in prison under sentence of death. There was one advantage to the situation: he had plenty of time in which to think. And he thought well. Then called he the jailer to him. "Most worthy man, you see before you one most wretched," he began. "Yet all will be well with me if you will but let me go free for 1 short hour this night. And all will be well with you, for I shall see to your advancement through the years, and you shall come at length to the directorship of all the prisons of Chosen." "How now?" demanded the jailer. "What foolishness is this? 1 short hour, and you but waiting for your head to be chopped off. And I, with an aged and much to be respected mother, not to say anything of a wife and several children of tender years. Out upon you for the scoundrel that you are. From the sacred city to the ends of all the 8 coasts there is no place for me to hide," Yi Chin-ho made reply. "I am a man of wisdom, but of what worth my wisdom here in prison? Were I free, well I know I could seek out and obtain the money wherewith to repay the government. I know of a nose that will save me from all my difficulties." "A nose," cried the jailer. "A nose," said Yi Chin-ho. "A remarkable nose, if I may say so, a most remarkable nose." The jailer threw up his hands despairingly. "Ah, what a wag you are, what a wag," he laughed. "To think that that very admirable wit of yours must go the way of the chopping block." And so saying, he turned and went away. But in the end, being a man soft of head and heart, when the night was well along he permitted Yi Chin-ho to go. Straight he went to the governor, catching him alone and arousing him from his sleep. "Yi Chin-ho, or I'm no governor," cried the governor. "What do you hear who should be in prison waiting on the chopping block?" "I pray your excellency to listen to me," said Yi Chin-ho, squatting on his hams by the bedside and lighting his pipe from the firebox. "A dead man is without value. It is true, I am as a dead man, without value to the government, to your excellency, or to myself. But if so to say, your excellency were to give me my freedom—" "Impossible," cried the governor. "Beside, you are condemned to death. Your excellency well knows that if I can repay the 10,000 strings of cash, the government will pardon me." Yi Chin-ho went on. "So, as I say, if your excellency were to give me my freedom for a few days, being a man of understanding, I should then repay the government and be in position to be of service to your excellency. I should be in position to be of very great service to your excellency." "Have you a plan whereby you hope to obtain this money?" asked the governor. "I have," said Yi Chin-ho. "Then come with it to me tomorrow night. I would now sleep," said the governor, taking up his snore where it had been interrupted. On the following night, having again obtained leave of absence from the jailer, Yi Chin-ho presented himself at the governor's bedside. "Is it you, Yi Chin-ho?" asked the governor, "and have you the plan?" "It is I, your excellency," answered Yi Chin-ho, "and the plan is here." "Speak," commanded the governor. "The plan is here," repeated Yi Chin-ho, "here in my hand." The governor sat up and opened his eyes. Yi Chin-ho proffered in his hand a sheet of paper. The governor held it to the light. "Nothing but a nose," said he. "A bit pinched so and so, your excellency," said Yi Chin-ho. "Yes, a bit pinched here and there as you say," said the governor. "Withal it is an exceeding corpulent nose thus, and so, all in one place at the end," proceeded Yi Chin-ho. "Your excellency would seek far and wide and many a day for that nose and find it not." "An unusual nose," admitted the governor. "There is a wart upon it," said Yi Chin-ho. "A most unusual nose," said the governor. "Never have I seen the like, but what do you with this nose, Yi Chin-ho?" "I seek it whereby to repay the money to the government," said Yi Chin-ho. "I seek it to be of service to your excellency, and I seek it to save my own worthless head. Further, I seek your excellency's seal upon this picture of the nose." And the governor laughed and affixed the seal of state, and Yi Chin-ho departed. For a month and a day he traveled the King's Road which leads to the shore of the Eastern Sea. And there, one night, At the gate of the largest mansion of a wealthy city, he knocked loudly for admittance. "None other than the master of the house will I see," said he fiercely to the frightened servants. "I travel upon the king's business." Straightway was he led to an inner room, where the master of the house was roused from his sleep and brought blinking before him. "You are Pak Chung-chang, head man of the city," said Yi Chin-ho in tones that were all accusing. "I am upon the king's business." Pak Chung-chang trembled. Well, he knew the king's business was ever a terrible business. His knees smote together, and he near fell to the floor. "The hour is late," he quavered. "Were it not well to—" "The king's business never waits," thundered Yi Chin-ho. "Come apart with me, and swiftly. I have an affair of moment to discuss with you." "It is the king's affair," he added with even greater fierceness, so that Pak Chung-chang's silver pipe dropped from his nerveless fingers and clattered on the floor. "Know then," said Yi Chin-ho when they had gone apart, "that the king is troubled with an affliction, a very terrible affliction. In that he failed to cure, the court physician has had nothing else than his head chopped off. From all the 8 provinces have the physicians come to wait upon the king. Wise consultation have they held, and they have decided that for a remedy for the king's affliction nothing else is required than a nose. A certain kind of nose, a very peculiar certain kind of nose. Then by none other was I summoned than His Excellency, the Prime Minister himself. He put a paper into my hand. Upon this paper was the very peculiar kind of nose drawn by the physicians of the 8 provinces, with the seal of state upon it. Go, said His Excellency the Prime Minister. Seek out this nose, for the king's affliction is sore. And wheresoever you find this nose upon the face of a man, strike it off forthright and bring it in all haste to the court, for the king must be cured. Go, and come not back until your search is rewarded. And so I departed upon my quest, said Yi Chin-ho. I have sought out the remotest corners of the kingdom, I have traveled the 8 highways, searched the 8 provinces, and sailed the seas of the 8 coasts. And here I am. With a great flourish he drew a paper from his girdle, unrolled it with many snappings and cracklings, and thrust it before the face of Pak Chung-chang. Upon the paper was the picture of the nose. Pak Chung-chang stared upon it with bulging eyes. Never have I beheld such a nose, he began. There is a wart upon it, said Yi Chin-ho. Never have I beheld, Pak Chung-chang began again. Bring your father before me, Yi Chin-ho interrupted sternly. My ancient and very much to be respected ancestor sleeps, said Pak Chung-chang. Why dissemble, demanded Yi Chin-ho, you know it is your father's nose. Bring him before me that I may strike it off and be gone. Hurry, lest I make bad report of you. Mercy, cried Pak Chung-chang falling on his knees. It is impossible. It is impossible, you cannot strike off my father's nose. He cannot go down without his nose to the grave. He will become a laughter and a byword, and all my days and nights will be filled with woe. Oh, reflect. Report that you have seen no such nose in your travels. You, too, have a father. Pak Chung-chang clasped Yi Chin-ho's knees, and fell to weeping on his sandals. My heart softens strangely at your tears, said Yi Chin-ho. I, too, know filial piety and regard. But he hesitated, then added, as though thinking aloud, it is as much as my head is worth. How much is your head worth? Asked Pak Chung-chang in a thin, small voice. A not remarkable head, said Yi Chin-ho. An absurdly unremarkable head, but such is my great foolishness, I value it at nothing less than 100,000 strings of cash. So be it, said Pak Chung-chang, rising to his feet. I shall need horses to carry the treasure, said Yi Chin-ho, and men to guard it well as I journey through the mountains. There are robbers abroad in the land. There are robbers abroad in the land, said Pak Chung-chang sadly. But it shall be as you wish, so long as my ancient and very much to be respected ancestors' nose abide in its appointed place. Say nothing to any man of this occurrence, said Yi Chin-ho, else will other and more loyal servants than I be sent to strike off your father's nose. And so Yi Chin-ho departed on his way through the mountains, blithe of heart and gay of song, as he listened to the jingling bells of his treasure-laden ponies. There is little more to tell. Yi Chin-ho prospered through the years. By his efforts, the jailer attained at length to the directorship of all the prisons of Chosen. The governor ultimately betook himself to the sacred city to be prime minister to the king, while Yi Chin-ho became the king's boon companion and sat at table with him to the end of a round, fat life. But Pak Chung-chang fell into a melancholy, and ever after he shook his head sadly, with tears in his eyes, whenever he regarded the expensive nose of his ancient and very much to be respected ancestor.